creativity is absolutely fundamental in education. Creativity is all about producing and actually making things that are of value. And if you think about what education is all about, it's all about preparing students, preparing young people for the future, and making sure that they've got the ability to actually construct their learning in creative ways and are able to actually achieve things and build things and be able to make things no matter what sort of problems hit them in the future. What we're trying to do with creativity is look at the fact that it's all about problem solving. It's all about 21st century skills like collaboration, like teamwork. And what we're trying to do at Adobe is trying to look at education as being a lot less about the teacher and more about the student. And more about how that student can be ready for a world where collaboration, where problem solving, where creativity is such a fundamental part of being a human being in the 21st century. You sort of think about what the world was like 30 years ago to what the world was like maybe even 10 years ago. It's such a different place to what it is now. I often quote Seymour Papert when he made a prediction about 35 years ago that we don't really know what computers will be like in the future, he said. This is before the internet. He said, what we think is that computers will be everywhere. They'll be like pencils. And how true did that become? But then he also said in that same speech that he made back 35 years ago that learning will be fundamentally different and teaching will be fundamentally different to what it has been in the past. I think his first prediction has definitely come true, but his second prediction, I'm not so sure. I get this opportunity to travel around the world now with Adobe, and I get to go to classrooms all over the world, which is amazing. And I'm seeing pockets of creative change. I'm seeing pockets of schools that are doing some amazing things where they're sort of throwing out the concepts of discipline-based learning, whereas when you're teaching maths, you're just teaching maths. When you're teaching English, you're just teaching English. And we're sort of realising that that's not the way the brain works. We're realising that the way we're supposed to be learning, the best way to learn is to actually interdiscipline those areas. And when you are teaching maths, you can be also teaching geography and history and science. There's so many creative ways of working with our education system. And so that's what schools should be doing, is preparing kids for a future which we really don't know what it's going to be like. I like to think of the teacher of the future as being like the facilitator of the future, as being someone who's actually giving students an opportunity to be creative, giving students an opportunity to express themselves, to construct their learning, to work in teams, to collaborate, and to focus on those 21st century skills that are just so important. Teacher of the future and a teacher of today really shouldn't be someone who's just standing at the front and delivering content. A teacher of the future should be allowing the students to discover things for themselves and catering for a wide variety of learning styles, and not just catering for those 10% of the class that actually learn by listening, and more or less catering for the majority of students who actually learn by doing.